I'm here to give you confidence in going down small transitions. Going down banks and small ramps at skate parks is a very important skill to have early on in your skateboard career. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's do it. By far, one of the most important skills you can ever learn is going down small banks and transitions safely and with confidence. I want to give you a few tools that you can use to get over that hump to where when you see a transition of this size, there is nothing in you that is afraid. Okay, step one is just understanding how transitions work, okay? How is our balance affected by the change of slope? Most people, when they're approaching transitions or banks like this, they make a very simple mistake. They try to overly predict the change of slope and they start moving their body too much to try to balance with it. So in this situation, what that would look like is trying to lean too far forward in approach to the transition. And then as they get to the bottom, feeling like they have to somehow make themselves flatten out and lean back to then loop out, right? So when you're on the transition and you're feeling like you have to help yourself flatten out, that's gonna lead to a whole lot of trouble. I'm gonna start by saying, yes, you lean forward just a little bit. We do this by making sure we have a properly loaded front foot, maybe 60% of our weight on our front foot. Positive body language, meaning we're leaning just a little bit towards where we're going. Our shoulders are roughly matching the steepness of the bank. Not overly doing it, trying to force anything, but a little bit of that shoulder tilt forward with that weight on the front foot. And all we're gonna wanna do is hold this and push through the bottom of the transition, okay? I'm not leaning back and trying to help my board flatten out. I am just simply pushing on my front foot through the bottom of the transition. This will help keep me tall and this will help keep the transition very smooth. It is fully okay to just hold this body position in that same amount of weight on your front foot the whole time, but the bottom of the transition will feel a little bit heavier. You'll get extra G-forces into the ground. You'll feel a lot of weight, boom, through the bottom. That's just fine. Don't let it freak you out. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is slipping out. Slipping out is the most dangerous fall when you're dealing with transitions, and it's also the most common, and it's also the one that if it happens to you once, you'll never forget and you might never try it again. There are a bunch of different reasons that you could slip out, and we're gonna cover them right now. I first want you to orient yourself to this portion of the lesson. Our goal is to hold the same amount of weight distribution between our feet the whole time. So if we start 60-40 on the front foot, I want you to keep 60-40 on the front foot the whole time. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it right here. Okay, whether you're going up or down or over different transitions, if you hold your weight right over the inside of your front foot, you're gonna be in good shape. What looping out is losing that weight on your front foot and then overweighting your back foot and ending up behind the skateboard. Once it starts, it's very hard to stop. The first thing that's gonna cause this is actually going towards the top of the bank too slow. So if you go very slow, you're gonna have a big change of speed as you start going down the transition. You're going 0 miles per hour, and then essentially your board starts speeding up faster than your body. And you go from good balance to now you're behind it, and you can probably hold on all the way down and then you're done. So simply going a little bit faster at the bank so you have less of a change of speed as it tips forward will make it easier to hold a consistent weight placement on the inside of your front foot. The next thing I want you to focus on is instead of just trying to lean down into the transition, considering we have a slight tilt in our shoulders, we have weight on our front foot, that positive body language, we're ready to go forward. Okay, we have that set. Now you can think about placing your weight over your skateboard to help you get steeper and more flat, and not rocking your body back and forth to try to help yourself stay with the transition. Okay, so if I am standing on the back of the board, if I'm standing way back here, that is leaning back. That is the same thing as tipping backwards. It's just more effective. If I just tip backwards, this doesn't really do anything because I can just keep my weight on my front foot, and I'm not gonna fall back from changing my pitch backwards. I only fall back by changing that center of my weight and putting it too much over the tail. That is leaning back, not changing your pitch of your shoulders, right? And I feel like this is what beginners think it's like to skate transitions, that you're always like leaning back and forth, and no, it's shifting your weight forward and backwards over the nose and tail based on what you want to do. Okay, so if you want to stay over your front foot, that just means you shift your weight a little bit forward over your front truck and then let the transition tip you naturally. Squirrel. Once you get your weight set up properly, a little bit of positive body language, now as you hit a transition, that's gonna tip you just perfectly as you go down the transition. And it's like this no matter how steep it is. You are always focused on where your balance is over your board, not the axis of your body. Okay, let's talk about rhythm and flow, okay? Beginners a lot of times have this motion going on in their body. Like they think that pumping is somehow like I gotta get down and forward, and then I gotta lean and stand through the bottom, and somehow that's gonna make us more balanced and give us a lot of speed in this stuff, okay? I want you to think about pumping more like it's a hippie jump. Okay, when you do a hippie jump and you can stay very balanced and keep your body very still, this is exactly what we're gonna do through the bottom of the transition to pump. Basically, pumping out of a bank is just this motion, except with better timing. Positive body language is very, very important. When I'm teaching a student how to go down a bank, what I'll do a majority of the time is I'll hold on to their lead hand, so their front hand, okay? And then I'll tell them to imagine that their front hand, when I squeeze it harder, that means put more weight on your front foot. So if I'm squeezing your front hand, that means load that front foot more and more and more and more. The pressure will go like this, up top of a very light squeeze. Then as soon as that front wheel crosses this threshold, right here, boom. Now I'm squeezing your hand, trying to get them to stay more forward, 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 and then release. Okay, so you're gonna have to be predictive and really imagining that you're trying to chase your front foot down the ramp, especially if you start slower and then start picking up speed. You're gonna have to stay with it a little bit more. Let's talk about what's likely to happen. Your front wheels cross this threshold, it starts. You shift back a little bit. Then you react by shifting forward. But then you think that you have to help yourself out of the bottom of the transition by shifting back. And that's gonna turn into this very common motion. Back, whoops, I gotta get forward. Oh, I better get back. And there's just nothing you can do. You start the wave and it's never gonna stop, okay? So what we want is to find that stability where you're not really moving back and forth the whole time. You're able just to stand there and try to get a specific pressure up against your front foot. If you do find yourself sitting a little bit back seat, that's okay. Just do your best to pull your board underneath you and then slow down and try not to move very much, okay? You always have the option of pulling and pushing your board around underneath you. So if you're falling backwards off your tail, you can just pull that board, hold it underneath you. Now the center of your weight's over the middle of your board. You're not gonna go either way. Same thing, as you're going forward, you can push that board forward underneath you and keep your weight in the center, okay? I want you to stop thinking about leaning forward and back like it's pitch, and I want you to be shifting your weight over the tail and the nose and letting the transition pitch you however much it's gonna. As you add speed, just keep your eyes up, focus on where you're going, turn very slowly and smoothly, and make sure that whenever you hit the bottom of the transition, that you give it a little bit of a pump. If you're constantly trying to catch every transition, like so, like down into it, it's gonna make the ground feel a lot heavier, and it's actually gonna make going down the transitions scary. If you're pushing just before you get to the bottom and almost trying to skip the bottom of the transition, it's gonna make the transition feel a lot lighter and way more approachable. If you love skateboarding and wanna get better, faster, it's time to join the Skate IQ team. And right now, you can sign up absolutely free. You'll get access to all of our training programs, plus our exclusive 3-phase program that you won't find anywhere else. If that all sounds great and you're looking for more personalized feedback, you can submit your videos to my weekly video review, where I give you a detailed breakdown so you know exactly what to work on next to reach your goals. Join now, and I'll see you inside. All right, now we're at the bank that's closer to a size of like a 6 stair or a 7 stair. It's steeper up top, which means there's a more dramatic change from the flat ground to the bank, and then the same from the bank to the flat ground again. So this is scary. Like, how are we gonna manage getting forward enough and getting back enough so the board flattens out, okay? We're gonna go back to the fundamentals and just focus on consistent weight placement on your feet. So what I want you to do is start putting your weight not just on your front foot, but I want you to put your weight on the inside of your front foot, on the inseam. You can drop this knee to the inside a little bit and push through the arch of your front foot into the board, okay? And I just want you to very simply hold your weight right there the whole time. If you can get through your first couple, you'll be able to get your reps up and you'll be able to practice from there. What we want to avoid is this panic zone where you make a bad mistake on one of your first attempts and then you're scared or scarred for life about like banks being really complicated. And they're not, they're just a little freaky. So what's gonna happen if you go too slow into a bank that's especially this steep is your board is gonna start moving before your body. Even though you're on your front foot here, now you're gonna be loading your back foot a lot, and then the natural instinct is to try to pick up your front foot to step on the ground. So think about this. If someone were to push me backwards, I'm gonna step this way so I catch myself, right? If I'm gonna fall backwards, whoa, I'm gonna step this way. If we do that on a skateboard, that doesn't work because our front foot's glued to the ground and now the nose is in the air and there's no way I can get my foot behind me and we're done. So your instincts have to be one of two things. You either just have to jump, which is crazy. Nobody's gonna do that. I wouldn't recommend that at all. I mean, I've been skating for 25 years and I felt terrible, and like the timing had to be perfect and the balance of the jump had to be good, and like it's just not a reliable strategy. The only other option is to stay with it and to hold that weight over your front foot. So we're gonna do that not by leaning forward more, but we're gonna do that by shifting our weight more towards our front foot and then holding strong with this front leg to keep our body with our board as that board picks up speed. So if I'm weak with my front leg, as my front trucks cross the threshold and start going down the bank, then my board's gonna go there and I'm gonna fall back. But if I can hold strength in my front leg, I can actually let my leg drag my whole body with my board. And then there's never that separation. As the board picks up speed, I never get here. I can just hold with it and go down the bank like that. It's beautiful, it's a great feeling. The only reason I would say that is a good strategy is if you're so afraid of going at a normal speed on the deck to go down the bank, that's the only way you can see yourself going down it, that's the strategy I would recommend. If you are comfortable going at any sort of moderate speed on the deck, it will make it a lot easier just to have this consistent flow as you go down the bank, okay? What we're trying to do essentially is slow down your acceleration. We're not trying to slow down your top speed. We're trying to slow down your relative acceleration. 0 miles per hour to 5 miles per hour is harder to balance through than 5 miles per hour to 6 miles per hour, okay? It's just the amount of acceleration in a short period of time is the thing that's hard to balance through. It's not difficult to balance through a high speed entrance to a bank because you're not changing speed that much. You're only gaining a little bit of speed. If you're completely stopped and then you start going down a bank, your change in speed is gonna be so dramatic. It's gonna be 800%, 2000% change in speed because you're not moving and then you are. Yeah, that's hard. That feels terrible. So I would just recommend having a little bit more speed on your approach so you can get a sense of like that change in speed is the hard thing, not top speed. Okay, now you got speed. Now you understand from our other lesson that if I keep my weight over my front foot, a little bit positive body language, I'm gonna naturally tip into the transition, no problem. So I don't have to lean more forward, I just have to keep my weight over my front foot and I'll stay over it. It's just like walking downstairs. If I wanna put my weight on my front foot, all I have to do is push my weight out over the stairs, then I can stand on it. I don't have to go, damn, this is really hard to walk down. I better lean forward so I don't get stuck over my back foot. No, you just shift your weight over your front foot laterally and you're fine. So that's how we get into the bank. Then how do we get out? This is my favorite part of transition skating actually, how to get out of the transitions. So let's consider this part of the transition like it's flat ground, just for the sake of the lesson. It's flat ground, you're just squatted. And then right here, before the transition starts, I want you to stand up and push into the ground and kind of hop over the transition. People have a tough time understanding that when you're on a skateboard, you are not ever trying to jump forward or move forward. You are simply in one place and your board is moving and the pitch of your body is changing based on the ramps, but you're not changing your pitch and you're not changing your speed by going forward. You're just staying right here. It doesn't matter if you're sideways on a vert ramp at 45 degrees on a bank. If I'm here and I just jump normally, I'm gonna move forward naturally. I'm just jumping like this. I'm not trying to get forward, okay? So that's how we get out of the transition. We just squat, and we give it a little bit of a hop as we're moving forward, and that'll take us through the transition really lightly. Down and push. Really nice, it softens the ground up. Yes, you have a little bit more speed than you would if you just catch it. But like I said, top speed is not the difficult part of skating. Change of speed is. So if I try to catch it, I'll actually slow down, and that makes it difficult to balance because there's a change in speed. Keeping your speed or maintaining your speed is the easiest way to balance. You should have an idea of the basics of how to go down banks and small transitions. There's no absolute right or wrong way to approach it in the sense of exactly what your shoulders are, exactly how much weight on your front foot, and your exact speed. But there are these general rules of thumb that you can follow to make your life a lot easier. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe so you never miss a video from us and you can help the channel grow. And also, click on one of these videos to go next.